Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So back when I made my Faker Zed build video, a lot of people seem to really enjoy it, to see the perspective of maybe a high-elo player or one of the best players in League of Legends, see exactly what they do differently on a certain champion, and obviously try it out for yourself. And it is also very interesting to me doing the research about this because it also helps me, and again, I like to see what these very skilled players are doing on a champion and if it's anything drastically different at all. So today we'll be doing something very similar, except we'll be looking at Azir instead, and more specifically BJERGSEN'S Azir. Now I chose BJERGSEN because he's been absolutely terrorizing with this champion in LCS for the past couple of weeks now, so he's very known for his Azir mechanics, so I feel like a lot of people can most likely trust whatever BJERGSEN is doing on Azir is probably the best thing. But before we move on, the question of today's video is, what other pro champion combination do you want me to talk about in a future video? And if you end up enjoying this one as well, then let me know by hitting that like button. So I quickly want to mention that this new Azir build isn't just something substantially different from what you used to do on Azir, but it is different enough that I feel like it's worth making a video about. But we should also take a look at the old Azir build and something even now people are still getting to see the exact differences even better. So the major things are going to be the items and the runes. Now the first one at the top, you can see even right now as of this patch, when I look at the statistics on what people usually get on Azir, magic penetration reds and just flat magic resistance blues apparently are still the way in a lot of people's mind, on top of also always going for the Sork boots. And if you're an Azir player, maybe you're even still building this as well, but there are different runes and a different way you want to build your items now that is just simply better for the current meta. Keep in mind that the items I have listed are in that specific order of how you would usually buy it. But here are the runes, the masteries, and the items that BJERGSEN himself and a lot of other high-elo players and LCS players now do. The first thing we'll look at are the runes, and you can see that the red ones are now attack speed and not magic penetration. So that's 15% attack speed, your yellows are either armor or HP per level depending on what you're facing. Your blues are going to have enough for 10% CDR at level 18, the rest being flat magic resistance or magic resistance per level. And your quints are going to be flat AP quints. Next up, let's take a look at the items. Now the biggest difference here is you go for Berserker boots. Now this isn't something you would almost ever see an Azir ever do. I mean, it was just very strange, and I mean, if you don't get Sork boots, it would be considered almost like you're trolling. So now Berserker boots are the way to go, on top of also being able to get your Void Staff right after your rallies instead of waiting for the Void Staff near the end of your build. I will go over why this is a new build and what's so good about it and why is this just better very soon. But the final thing to look at that isn't really any different at all are the masteries, which are 12, 18, 0. But after the changes to double-edged sword, I feel like now even on Azir you can probably take that rather than the one that gives you HP. I feel like it might be overall a better choice, but again, I'm not 100% sure yet. But now that ranged champions also deal 3% bonus damage but only take 1.5% in return, it sounds like it's a pretty good thing on Azir. But now let's talk about why the Berserker boots, why the attack speed res, and why the early Void Staff even before the Rabadons. Why is this the better build? Well, first of all, Azir is for the most part an 80 carry AP mage type champion, right? I mean, he obviously relies on auto attacks from his soldier to deal most of his damage, if not maybe even 90% of his damage, so attack speed just makes this overall feel much smoother and better. It is also a multiplicative stat, so more attack speed is essentially more damage as long as you keep auto attacking, especially later on into the game. The cost for the Berserker boots and the Sork boots are the exact same, but you're able to get a dagger before you actually have to finish the Berserker boots, so the build path is just overall better. There was also a recent buff to the Berserker boots where it now gives you 5% more attack speed. So that's kind of the idea behind the attack speed runes and the attack speed boots, because it just feels better, it does give you a bit more damage, you can do more Azir-like things, and it really just makes the playstyle much smoother. But why do you get the Void Staff that early, even before getting a Rabadons? That's the next question. I've seen BJERGSEN do this quite often on many other champions where he would get a Void Staff much earlier than I would see most other people do. But especially as of right now, it just simply makes sense. Why, you ask? Well, you don't have any magic penetration from your runes, you don't have any magic penetration from your boots, so the Void Staff early is going to be giving you all the magic penetration that you want, and especially if you go for the Abyssal Scepter. But speaking of the Abyssal Scepter, when do you get this item? I mean, do you even get it on Azir anymore? The question is yes. yes, you still do, but it's very specific as to when you do. If you're facing Fizz or LeBlanc in the mid lane and the enemy team has one other AP carry on their team, maybe in the jungle or maybe somewhere in the top lane, then yeah, you can probably go for the Abyssal Scepter. But if the enemy team does not have someone like that in the mid lane, but they have maybe another mage, someone who's kind of passive, maybe like Xerath, but they also have an AP damage dealer in the top lane and in the jungle, then that's another fantastic reason to get Abyssal. But other than that, you want to just flat out skip it and go for the other core items. You get the 10% CDR at level 18 in your runes, because with that, your Zonya's Hourglass and your Nashor's Tooth, that's 40% right there. But if you're planning on getting Abyssal Scepter, then you probably don't want to get that 10% CDR in your runes. But going back to the Void Staff, getting it that early again to compensate for the fact that you simply do not have any other form of magic penetration, it also fits the meta quite well, because there are quite a lot of tanky bruiser type champions in your face, and you want to be able to penetrate through their magic resistance sooner than later. But that is about it for this video, guys. I mean, there you go in BJERGSEN'S Azir build. The new Azir build, is this the best way to build him now? I would say yes, it most likely is. I mean, it just gives you everything you want. The playstyle just feels absolutely amazing. It feels very smooth, especially once you get the Berserker boots. And it's just something you gotta feel out for yourself and get a better idea and just realize, you know what, this is actually a very solid build. If you guys have any questions regarding this, make sure to write them in the comments below. I'll try to answer whatever I can. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button. Answer the comment I asked at the beginning of the video if you so will, on which champion and pro combination do you want me to talk about for the next video. But I truly thank each and every one of you for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.